Nation Sports Show. Tonight, on the Nation Sports Show, we break down all the action from Championship Sunday. In the AFC Championship game in Baltimore, Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City stunned the home crowd on the road at M&T Bank Stadium as the Chiefs beat the Ravens. Kansas City is going to their fourth Super Bowl in 5 years. In the NFC Championship game in Santa Clara, the San Francisco 49ers in the second half made a comeback to beat the Detroit Lions. Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas is now set. San Francisco, Kansas City, a rematch of Super Bowl 54. Will the Chiefs be the first franchise since the New England Patriots to repeat as Super Bowl champions, or will San Francisco get sweet revenge on the Chiefs from losing Super Bowl 54 and win their sixth Lombardi Trophy for the next 2 weeks? Our Nation Sports Show has you covered on the biggest game in the National Football League. It's showtime.
Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, you wanted the best in the world of sports? You got the best. It is our Nation Sports Show. What is up, everybody? I am Ezra Vickery, of course, here live with you all. And, of course, my two brethren here, which I'll introduce in a second. As usual, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We are live every Tuesday, like we are now on YouTube. And now the links are all set. Now you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all at Our Nation Sports Show. Well, Twitter is still at @ON_Sports Show, right, Steven? Or is it now Our Nation Sports Show?
It's still @ON_Sports Show for Twitter, but Facebook and YouTube is all the same.
Well, why did you get that done, you son of a bitch?
Well, if Twitter would allow multiple characters, that would be great.
Yeah, they're losers. Anyways, you can follow us at @ON_Sports Show on Twitter, Facebook.com, Instagram.com, YouTube.com, all at Our Nation Sports Show. And don't forget to follow, of course, our crew on Saturdays, the Nation's Corner, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Saturdays. As well, don't forget to follow them for all things pro wrestling. And check out last week's episode where I was on with Mongrovian Mike, Debhausen, Tony Justice, and Front Row, where we did a little preview of the Royal Rumble. And, of course, they'll be talking about the breakdown of the Royal Rumble, plus everything that happened from this Monday and going on for the rest of the week in pro wrestling this Saturday. So check them out. And don't forget to follow my crew, Too Sweet Cosplay, at Too Sweet Cosplay across all of our socials. As C2E2 rears its ugly head once again, and we get ready for the Comic-Con season. We're hoping to get more information on what we're going to be doing at C2E2. And we'll let you know that as soon as we can find out. But enough of my quick 4-minute spiel about absolutely nothing that makes no prevalence to any of you watching. Let's go ahead and get to the sports. And of course, we can't do it without introducing the guys in our group. And of course, we got right here tonight with us, the man, the Alabama Roll Tide's #1 fan, and only fan in this damn room, Joey Thornton. What's going on, brother?
Okay, first off, nothing wrong with being a hater or
Then again, there is something wrong with being a hater, but I digress. But what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having an amazing Tuesday. Hope you guys are staying warm, depending on where you are out there in the world. We had a nice little false spring back over the weekend, but now things have come back into place. So we're back to being cold. I'm ready for the warm weather to come around. So until then, I'm enjoying all the sports that I can. And speaking of sports, we got football to talk about. We got some basketball to talk about. And Lord, who knows, whatever the hell else we want to talk about. So let's do it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And of course, my heavy metal brothers with me from North Carolina. A man who on this show has had more hits than misses. A man who is more crazy than David Lee Roth in 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Stevie Wyand.
Yeah, speaking of crazy, real quick, what in the living hell was that so-called song by David Lee Roth that came out last week? Jesus. I mean, that is one of the most weirdest pieces of so-called music I've ever heard in my life. It is literally, for those that don't know, quick side note, it's just David Lee Roth talking over like a jazz style piece of music. David Lee, what the hell? Like, come on. Really? Come on. Just really weird. Really weird. But what's not weird is us being here on the sports show talking about all of the details of Championship Sunday from this past Sunday in the NFL, as Super Bowl 58 in Vegas is now set. And with that being said, and we're also going to get into the latest NBA news and all that other stuff. And without further ado, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it, guys. We got a lot to get into, and don't worry, we're gonna be as less awkward as a deaf guy at an opera singing contest. Now we're ready to roll. Let's do this. We got a lot to talk about, and of course, let's get right into it. Championship Sunday. We're gonna start off a little early with some football talk, and boy, two great games this weekend. Two competitive, hard-fought games. And, of course, we got to start off with the AFC Championship game. The Kansas City Chiefs are headed to the Super Bowl as they took down the Baltimore Ravens. In a very hard-fought game for Kansas City. Kansas City scored early. Kansas City scored, and they didn't score anything else, but Baltimore shot themselves in the foot multiple times. Just bad play calling, bad passing. Defense couldn't stop it. And also, one thing we're going to talk about very big in this, and that's immaturity. And that was the immaturity of some of the players on the team, most notably Lamar Jackson. We saw in many of the videos on the game, Lamar Jackson getting frustrated, throwing his helmet, getting mad at himself. Look, you can be mad at yourself and all that, and it's a big moment. I get that. But there's a level of maturity that you got to have, but that some teams, especially a Baltimore team like this, doesn't have yet. But then again, they shot themselves in the foot overall. Just like I said, bad play calling, just bad ideas. Lamar was doing great running the ball, and that's something I don't understand why he didn't do more of. When his passing wasn't working, he was running the ball, and he was getting good yardage. But he just seemed like he could not connect to those. He couldn't connect to his receivers, and that's a testament to the defensive power of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, here's an interesting thought for Mr. Lamar Jackson. And excuse my language, but how in the hell are you going to complete a touchdown pass if you throw the ball into freaking triple coverage? Answer that question for me, Lamar.
Oh my God, I saw that and I'm like, what are you doing?
Answer that question for me, Lamar.
Oh, that was horrendous. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, they read that perfectly. And like, you're a professional athlete. You're supposed to know that if you're eyeballing a receiver down the field, chances are all the defender has to do is know, hey, he's looking in the direction when he takes the snap that's more than likely who he's going to go to. That was his first instant, first read, threw it, triple coverage, easily intercepted. That was horrendous. And Baltimore had multiple chances to get this game under control, because let's call a spade a spade. The Kansas City Chiefs in this game in the first half was rolling. Mahomes and Kelsey, the offense was doing their thing in the first half. They couldn't cover him at all. And the running game kind of got going in the first half. But the Baltimore defense was very undisciplined in that first half. And in the second half, the offense was undisciplined, especially Zay Flowers. I mean, he was one of the biggest reasons why the Ravens could not get in this game. And when they got back in the game, it was too late. And Zay Flowers was responsible for one of the most stupidest taunting penalties that was very obvious. You do not stand over an athlete on the ground and showboat, because when he got caught by Sean Smith, the lead referee in the game, he got flagged, and it pushed Baltimore back from the Kansas City 10-yard line to their 25.
Yep, and what happened later on in that game? Zay Flowers was making a beeline toward the end zone, but then what happened? He lost the ball.
It was actually, I think, a couple of plays later, if I'm not mistaken, Joey, like when that happened.
He lost the ball against who?
The guy that he was taunting.
So that right there was just a bad case of karma, and in that case, it bit him right where the sun don't shine.
There was a lot of drop passes in that game with the Ravens.
Oh, absolutely. The receivers couldn't get nothing going, and Mark Andrews, I got to give the guy credit. He at least gave it a good old try to sit up for the game. But we all had a feeling that he wasn't going to be 110%, because that's your first game back since week 11, and injuring the ankle on Thursday Night Football. And Lamar Jackson he's not the main culprit, but he sure as hell is a part of it. He's a part of the problem. He's a part of the reason why the Baltimore Ravens are sitting at home watching the Super Bowl. And the main culprit to me is the defense. Undisciplined penalties, undisciplined coverage. They were giving up passes, left and right to Travis Kelce. Hello, number 87 is the one guy that Patrick Mahomes can trust these days. Travis Kelce was unbelievable in this game. And one of the biggest things that was, telling for me in this game was that early fourth down conversion in the first quarter, where Andy Reid decided to go for it, and Mahomes threw it a little behind him, but Travis Kelce jumped so high to catch the ball, came down with it, first down. The drive continues. And it's like, and of course, Kelce scored the touchdown, the 19-yard touchdown in that first quarter. And I'm like, man, Kansas City just came out firing. And then Lamar had that electrifying touchdown pass to Flowers for 30-something yards to tie the game. And that was the only big play that Jackson had in this game.
Yeah, it just was not a good day for the Baltimore team. Defensively, like you said, immature, stupid mistakes on their end. Lamar just not taking his time, throwing the ball in like you said, throwing it in triple coverage, not knowing where his other players are. It's just, it's ridiculous.
And what's also funny as well to me in this game, when, with the way that they were driving in the second half, like, he's chunking up deep passes. I'm like, dude, take what the defense gives you. Because the Chiefs got all their offense going in the first half, and in the second half, they didn't do nothing. They didn't score any points in the second half. And the Ravens had multiple opportunities to win this game, because the Chiefs were just begging them, because every time they would, creep down the field, and get in the range, a penalty, a drop pass, or that hideous interception that Jackson threw in the second half. And in the fourth quarter, I'm like, dude, you got time. You still have time. You're not down 20 points. You're down 10. If you were down 17, I would get that. You have to make up for the score. But you're down 10. Take what the defense gives you. If he would have taken what the defense gave him, maybe Tucker would have converted a field goal early on in that fourth quarter, and they would have been down by 7 with plenty of time to go in the fourth quarter. Because every time the Chiefs got the ball, the offense in that second half was not doing nothing. And especially during that first half. Now, the one holding call that bit the Chiefs, that was the correct call. But the second holding call on number 65, the same guy who got called for the first flag, can't remember his name, but number 65 for the Chiefs got called for the flag 2 times. The second flag was penalty that pushed him back to the 44-yard line. It was a screen pass to Rashid Rice that went for a touchdown. And that was obviously called back. And I thought that was a terrible call. But other than that, that call and then the one pass interference call that should have been called on the Chiefs, that wasn't called. I thought the officials were pretty solid in this game. And to all the Baltimore fans that are complaining about, oh, the officiating was shitty, this was rigged, blah, 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 blah. No. You have home field advantage. You have the soon-to-be named, more than likely, MVP of the 2023-24 regular season, and Lamar Jackson proved our points time and time again. He can't win the big one. Just when you thought he was going to shade all of the negativity that was coming his way by us fans and the media that said he couldn't win the big one, our points were proven this past Sunday in that second half. I mean, his decision-making skills were not the sharpest in the tank on Sunday. That was not the MVP that played during the regular season. That was not the MVP that was making plays, something out of nothing. That was a man who was desperate, trying to out Mahomes. You can't out Mahomes. Mahomes is going to outdo you if you're playing like that. That goes for any quarterback that goes up against Patrick Mahomes. Because when you try to outdo the best quarterback in this era, who would have thought that we would be saying that? That Patrick Mahomes right now is the best quarterback, pound for pound, in his era. Sure, there's some great, quarterbacks like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, and even, yes, Brock Purdy, who is making the Super Bowl. Purdy's in his second year. But pound for pound, for the past 6 seasons, Mahomes, it seems when everybody is gone, Mahomes and Kelsey and Reed are where they thought they would be in the Super Bowl. And he got it done. And Marquez Valdez-Scantling caught another deep pass, and that sealed the game. This is on Baltimore. They had multiple chances to win this game, and they blew it.
Can't agree more.
Nope, they blew it. Definitely. But again, the AFC Championship set, and of course the NFC Championship was set in a hard-fought battle between Detroit and San Francisco. And Detroit had a hell of a first half, punched San Francisco right in the mouth, came in there and just barreled down on them. But then, for whatever reason came, Detroit just all of a sudden clammed up and shut down. And San Fran took advantage. Deebo Samuel got some good catches, some good runs. Guy was clearing traffic. George Kittle was starting to really get hot. Run CMC had a few good runs himself. Wasn't his best game, but he came in there when it counted. And Brock Purdy, of course, looked like a superstar. Brock Purdy looked like the franchise quarterback of the 49ers that he is.
All right, so here's my thoughts on this game. Now, going into this game, I'll admit, I was pulling for Detroit.
Same.
But at the same time, I had a feeling San Francisco was going to win. But then come halftime, I was excuse me. I was talking to Steven on the phone, and we both thought that this was the most unbelievable thing we were witnessing. I mean, the Lions had them beat 24-7. The Lions were driving down the field, getting score after score after score, and that defense was making San Francisco's offense look absolutely putrid. But this is where the mistake lies. Now, granted, I've said it week in and week out, month in and month out. All respect in the world right now goes to Dan Campbell. And he still gets all the respect in the world. Because Dan Campbell is the man that was in charge of taking this Lions team, who, granted, earlier in this century went 0-16 in a single season. Still the only team ever to lose every single game they played. But yet, he took this Detroit Lions franchise and turned them into winners. Because he, along with that front office, was able to get such amazing players via free agency, trades, and the draft. Players such as Jared Goff. Players such as Jahmyr Gibbs. David Montgomery. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jamison Williams. Aiden Hutchinson on defense. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. But Dan Campbell on Sunday did something that, believe it or not, every single coach has faced at some point in their coaching careers. Now, if there's one thing that I've learned in life, is that you need to take risks on occasions. But at the same time, just because you take a risk doesn't mean it's always successful.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the problem on Sunday. Dan Campbell took a couple of risks, but none of them paid off. Not a single one of them paid off.
No, they did not.
That is part of coaching. It's a part of the NFL. It's a part of the real life world that's out there. Risks can be found and risks can be taken. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be successful every single time. And that right there is what killed Detroit. That risky play calling. I mean, going for it on 4th and 2 when you were, I think it was either, they were either up by a score or it was tied.
Actually, Joey, real quick, they were up by 17.
That's right.
When they went for it on the first time. And that was when the drop pass happened. And Reynolds was wide open, and he dropped it.
And then when it was 24-17, I believe it was, they went for on another 4th down, and they had Amon-Ra and
real quick. So they went on the one that you're talking about, the second one. They were down 27-24 in the fourth quarter.
That's it.
But
yeah, they had Amon-Ra St. Brown wide open, but he dropped it. So I don't really blame the drop passes in this instance, because drop passes are also part of the game. But at the same time, I blame more of the risky play calling than I do the drop passes. But not by much.
I agree with that.
But not by much. Because
not only that, to add to that, when it comes to the play calling, what I don't understand, so you played the right move by kicking the field goal at the end of the first half to go up 24-7 because you're still up by 2 scores. You had a 40-something yard field goal in that third quarter. And that right there told me when Campbell went for it on the first 4th down conversion attempt, he does not trust his kicker. And And to me, I would have taken the points, especially on the second one. But back to the first one real quick. What still blows my mind is when Reynolds dropped that pass, when it hit him in his hands and he dropped it. The next possession, 2 plays later, you have one of the most craziest passes by completed. This, if you thought David Tyree's helmet catch against Rodney Harris in the Super Bowl with the Giants and the Patriots was nuts, this was even more nuts. Just for the simple fact that the ball gets deflected off of a Detroit Lions helmet, and it ricochets off his helmet, and Brandon Ayuk, the target, catches the pass 51 yards down the field. It's first and goal, and all the momentum is on the Niners' side. Because if that Detroit player catches the interception, it's back on their side. They're still up 3 scores.
I was literally just about to bring that up. That pass, that unbelievable catch by Ayuk, is I think what gave San Francisco that momentum.
Because after that, the tides changed. And then, minutes later, first play from scrimmage on the Lions' next possession, that funky handoff from Goff to Gibbs, fumble. And then a couple plays later, McCaffrey's in the end zone. At that point, Detroit was playing tense. They were so tensed up. They were not playing relaxed. And there's a common theme, guys, within these 2 championship games. The Niners and the Chiefs in both their respective conference title games came in there, no pressure, because they have experience being in this spot. The Lions and the Ravens, with this core group of players on their respective teams, do not have the experience of being in the spotlight.
Nope, they sure don't.
And it's mind-boggling that just the play calling by Campbell. Take the damn points. Take the points. I don't care that your kicker, he may not be the sharpest, but that's what kicking is for. There is a reason for place kickers in the National Football League. There is a reason for kickers kicking the football. They are paid to do a job. And if you're a professional kicker in the NFL, by today's standards, you should be able to kick a 44-yard field goal. Now, the 55-yard one or so, whatever it was, you
really got to have a leg for those kind of kicks.
You do. But at the same time, when Campbell bit the bullet again on the second 4th down conversion attempt, at this point it's 27-24. You go for it on 4th down. You blew that one, and the Niners go down the field and go up by 10. And at that point, Detroit was playing behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, what I don't get from Detroit also was there was, especially in that second half, was a lot of high thrown or overthrown passes from Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was not happening during the first half.
No, it was not happening during the first half at all. It just seemed like the offense could not get back in sync once the half came and Jared started throwing those passes. A lot of them were way over the heads of his receivers.
Oh, yeah.
And St. Brown had 5 catches for 73 yards in that first half. And he had a great first half, and a lot of his conversions were on 3rd down, especially those 3rd and 18, 3rd and 12. I'm like, holy shit, like they're actually converting these long 3rd downs. Detroit was playing lights out in the first half.
Also, big help on that was Sam Laporta, too.
Mm-hmm. But it's remarkable. The offensive line was playing so good in the first half. And I don't know I know what happened, obviously. San Francisco made adjustments. They made adjustments. They got to Goff a couple of times in that second half. But it was just crazy. Just crazy.
But here's an interesting thought. I mean, yes, I guess you could say Detroit choked in the second half as compared to the first half.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, and I'm sure you guys can agree with me on this, there was another game that happened not too long ago where something very, very similar happened. And yes, folks, I'm talking about the Super Bowl. Falcons against the Patriots, 28-3. All of a sudden, the Falcons choked and the Patriots got better. So, my interesting thought is this. Did Detroit's offense really just choke? Or did San Francisco really step up their defensive mindset?
I think it was honestly, I think it was a combination of both. And what's up, Randy? What's going on, brother? And Randy
What's
says
up,
here in the
Randy?
chat. Randy says here in the chat that he said I called it on my season predictions. Cleveland was going to Cleveland, and Detroited. He's absolutely right, because there's two sides to this game when it comes to who choked and who and all that type of stuff. However, in the AFC Championship game, that is solely on the Ravens, not on the Chiefs, because the Chiefs didn't do nothing in the second half. They couldn't get no drives going, and every time there was a drive going, the flags would come out and get called on them, and they would, self-inflicted wounds. They could not do that against San Francisco, or they're going to pay. And it's really interesting, because if we would have gotten any other matchups, I would have gone with Baltimore against Detroit, just because Baltimore on paper had the better team. But the simple fact that the Chiefs are in the spot, the Chiefs, they're not world beaters anymore. They're not. But it's crazy to even think that Mahomes, Kelsey, and Reed are back where they are. And it's also crazy that San Francisco, because during this game, I mean, I was listening to the Westwood One broadcast during the first half, and I'm just sitting there going, damn, Brock Purdy is not looking good. Like, the O-line wasn't protecting him. He was missing throws. The receivers couldn't get nothing going. Moody missed a field goal in the first quarter from 43 yards. I'm like, man, Detroit, had him in that first half. And what's interesting to note as well, the Lions were down against the Niners in 1957's game, 24-7.
Yep.
And they came back to win. Same score, same result. Only this time, the Niners are on the winning side. It's funny how sports plays out sometimes the way it does.
Yeah, it is funny. But yeah, now the matchup is set. Super Bowl Sunday. It's now set. Las Vegas, Nevada, Kansas City Chiefs, and the San Francisco 49ers. And next week, we plan on giving our scores for the Super Bowl. So definitely next week, guys, check out our show as we give our predictions for that huge matchup in Sin City.
It's gonna be a very interesting Super Bowl, because this is two teams who are very familiar with the spotlight of being in the NFL's biggest game. And it's a rematch of Super Bowl 54 from Miami. And obviously we know in that game, the Chiefs took that one 31-20, highlighted by that epic comeback in the fourth quarter by Kansas City, their third consecutive victory in the 2020 postseason, making it the first team to do that in NFL history. But in this Super Bowl, to give my analysis on how I think this game could go, I think for the Chiefs to win, they have to get Mahomes going early against this pass rush, because that is the one thing that the Chiefs cannot afford, is San Francisco's front seven with Bosa and Greenlaw and Chase Young and everybody to get going. Because when that team gets going on defense and that engine starts revving, you better watch out, because that O-line's going to be in for a world beating if the Niners front seven gets going. And the offense especially has to continue to play better, because they have shown flashes here in the postseason. I mean, Kansas City, Kelsey has finally shown up in the playoffs finally, in a regular season. I mean, it's honestly proven to me, just like in the Super Bowl when the Bucks beat the Chiefs during that Super Bowl, obviously during that year in the 20 and 21 season, that Gronkowski and Brady did not have that great connection all year long. But we all know what matters, fellas. It matters when the playoffs come around. And Mahomes and Kelsey's connection is back in the playoffs. And Kelsey was great during that game this past Sunday against the Ravens. 11 catches for 116 yards into 1 touchdown. And for me, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and especially this rookie sensation that is Rashid Rice, like, he is the one receiver that Mahomes is starting to have that connection with. And if that connection can start firing on all cylinders like it did in the last 4 out of 5 weeks in the regular season, I think that, maybe Mahomes can get it going early, but that defense, they're going to have, obviously they have film on him because they played him in the 1 Super Bowl. And it's going to be really interesting to see, how this offense matches up with the Niners. And the biggest thing is, for me, this is for the Chiefs defense. This is their biggest test on defense because that San Francisco offense is loaded with Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in NFL history. And if that Chiefs defense does not get any pressure on Brock Purdy early on and throughout this game, it's more than likely going to be a San Francisco win in the Super Bowl, because that is the one thing that the Chiefs, to me, cannot afford to have, even though they had the great Patrick Mahomes. They cannot get in a shootout with this Niners offense because they have more consistency with their weaponry on offense, unlike the Chiefs did throughout the entire season. And if the Chiefs offense slips up multiple times, either in the second quarter or even, I would say the most critical quarter, guys, is the third quarter. If they do not perform consistently and stay the course of the game, this game could get out of their reach really, really quickly.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. You got to watch that San Francisco. The defense is so deadly with Nick Bosa and just Drake Relaw and all those guys. Incredible defense that can eat Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce alive. But of course, this is going to be, like you said, a true test for the defense of Kansas City. We know their offense is great. I mean, they got all the weapons they got, but this is a 49ers team that I believe is truly unstoppable. And I think, I don't want to give up score predictions or anything like that before next week, but I think next week's going to be real interesting as we look forward to see who's going to win this game. Because I look forward to hearing you guys' final predictions.
Yes, and Randy, I know that you're very sick to your stomach because, let's face it, the Chiefs are the new evil empire. They are the new New England Patriots because Mahomes is that good. And I've said it about Brady. If you want to beat the best, you got to take it from him, because Mahomes is on pace to be where Tom Brady was throughout his entire career early on. He could win his 3rd Super Bowl in 5 years. That is insane. Absolutely insane. The trajectory that Mahomes is on right now, he is on pace to being right there with Brady with championships. He's already getting there when it comes to statistics. But and real quick too, before Joey, I'll throw it to you for your thoughts on on your analysis for the Chiefs, what they got to do. The funniest thing to me, and going into this Super Bowl, is the flights going to Kansas City next week, to Vegas, the names that they have. The United Airlines 1989, the United Airlines 1587, obviously in reference to Mahomes and Kelsey's jerseys. And the one that had me laughing the most, the United 2287, in reference to Taylor Swift's 22 song, and of course Kelsey's jersey. And I was listening to Eddie Trunk show, and he was breaking down this story coming out this week, and I literally was laughing out loud. I'm like, are you kidding me? They're really going all in when it comes to these flights. And I haven't even bothered to check these flights, but I know that they are expensive. I mean, it's crazy. And on Eddie's show the other day, they did the whole breakdown because now that the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl, she's going to be in Japan doing a concert, and then she'll get off the stage, take a 12+ hour flight from Japan to Vegas, and be there in Vegas for the Super Bowl, so she can get there and be in her skybox, and all those cameras will be flashing on her. So yeah, it's crazy.
Hopefully this won't be forever and it'll just go down in flames. I'm hoping this is it. We'll see what happens. According to hold on, I got some stats for you guys. Here's something. The average price of a ticket to the Super Bowl right now is $12,000.
Funny, I saw something that said $9,815 is the average price.
It's $8,500 for the nosebleeds. And the most expensive ticket is $22,000.
Oh my god.
My gosh.
And this is why people like me, you, and Joey and Kevin will never be able to attend the Super Bowl.
Too damn expensive. Hell, I was checking the prices for the Ravens Chiefs game on Sunday. The cheapest ticket was $880, and the most expensive ticket, and that's on StubHub. And the most expensive ticket was 30 fucking grand. Unbelievable the prices that people are willing to pay to be at these games. I don't give a damn if my team is in the Super Bowl, which it is the Niners. I'm not paying that price to be at the stadium. The hell with that. I could be at home and check it out for free. I mean, and with the added thing of Swift being at the game, the media got what they wanted. She's going to be at the game. I mean, oh my God. I mean, it is hilarious with the prices. And I'm too scared to check the prices for the damn themed Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce flights from Kansas City to Vegas, because I know they're going to be expensive too. Randy. I don't know about that, good sir. He said here in the chat that Max Crosby is going to fix the Mahomes problem.
Yeah, you might be reaching there, buddy.
And Randy, speaking of reaching, thanks Ezra for that one there. Randy, I think you're reaching too far there, buddy. Unfortunately, there cannot be two losers. Somebody's got to win. There cannot be two losers in the Super Bowl, unfortunately.
Damn it. Well, and that game, of course, like you said, it's coming up here in a few weeks here. We will cover it. We will cover it that next week with our wrap up. But before that, our predictions next week on our final scores and who will win the final game of the NFL season for 2023-2024.
Yes, we will. And Joey, what are your thoughts on what the Chiefs need to do to win this game?
It's quite simple, actually. In order for the Chiefs to win this game, they need to practice on defense, because that defense knows what they're going to have to do in 2 weeks. They're gonna have to find out how deadly that San Francisco 49er offense can be. Now, yes, they were held in check in the first half against Detroit, but they really came alive in the second half. And that is something that San Francisco is pretty much accustomed to be honest. But yeah, that Chiefs defense thinks they're all bad and that they're really the most unstoppable defense that anybody has ever faced. It might be true, but they're really going to be put to the test in a week and a half when San Francisco comes by.
Yes.
And keep in mind, this can be seen as a home game for pretty much both teams because San Francisco is only a stone's throw away from Vegas. But at
That's
the
a
same
good point.
time, Patrick Mahomes has played his best games at Allegiant Stadium. Has he not? He has. Because of the way that he has continuously burned the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, granted, that didn't take place on Christmas Day this year, which it should have, but I digress. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes has played his best games at Allegiant Stadium. Granted, this is more of a home game for San Francisco, but you can never count on Kansas City. But bottom line here is the matchup that everybody's going to be tuning into, it's not just the 49ers against the Chiefs. But it's who can make the better plays, it's who can make the better decisions, and more importantly, it's whose coach or whose coordinators are going to call the best plays. Because both teams have amazing offenses and defenses. And yes, my prediction will come next week, just like everybody else is on here. But it will not surprise me if this turns out to be a high-scoring affair. It will not surprise me. Because both offenses are just so have so much firepower in them that I'm not sure if either team's defense is going. So who knows? We could see another 38-35 game next in about a week and a half.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll see what happens.
Yep. Should be a hard-fought game. Can't wait to check it out. Of course, that'll be live on CBS. Can't wait.
Yep, CBS, Nickelodeon, which I don't see why, and Paramount Plus.
Yep.
And what's crazy, for the first time since Super Bowl I, this will be the first Super Bowl to be simulcast.
Yep.
When was Super Bowl I simulcast? What, a laser disc? Felder was here. Maybe I could ask him.
Yes. Yes. And I was reading all that stuff and I was like, oh my God, like they're going to have multiple commentator teams on both networks. I mean, obviously Paramount Plus and CBS is carrying Jim Nantz and Tony Romo in their broadcast, but Nickelodeon's literally doing a whole nother broadcast as far as commentators and stuff. Like they're really going all out. They're really pushing it, and real quick, and as far as the entertainment purposes, probably the only thing that I'm happy about is the fact that what's really cool is that Reba McEntire is doing the national anthem.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I am a fan of Usher and I like Usher, don't get me wrong, I don't care about the halftime show. I haven't cared about it since The Who back in 2013. So
the last halftime show I actually gave a crap about was the one that happened in LA with the Eminem and Dre and Snoop, because that was actually entertaining.
Yeah, that was good too, and so was the one with Bruno Mars when the Red Hot Chili Peppers performed with him.
Yeah, but we haven't had nothing really good since The Who. No. And I mean, it's just the NFL is just playing it very safe with these halftime shows. And nothing against Usher. He's a popular artist, but he just doesn't fit the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. There's other news we got to get to in the world of football, and is that Texas quarterback coach Jared Johnson, who was looking to possibly expand his horizons elsewhere, is staying with the Texans. It was announced earlier today that he was given a raise as well as a contract extension. Of course, he worked closely with C.J. Stroud, the guy who should be Rookie of the Year. We'll find that out.
Yep, the NFL honors is next week on the 8th.
Yep. Also, Ben Johnson, despite reports of staying with the Lions as their offensive coordinator.
I think that's the right move.
Well, he
I
also
think
found
it
out that
is.
he also found out jokingly that Eminem was going to write a diss track about him if he didn't, you know. He was going to turn him into Machine Gun Kelly.
Real quick in the chat here, Randy. No. I did not say my team name wrong. No, there is no way. That I'm pulling for the Panthers. And second of all, it would be a cold day in hell. Hell would have to freeze over for the Panthers to make another Super Bowl. They would have to resurrect the career of Jake Delhomme to somehow come out of retirement and play in the NFL. They would have to get Steve Smith Sr. to suit back up being an old man to come back to this franchise. They would have to get Stephen freaking Davis to be the running back for the Panthers, who was great. They would have to get Deshaun Foster to be the running back. They would have to get Superman to come out of his freaking whatever the hell was going on with Cam Newton if he was actually playing good. But instead of looking like a jackass on the field in the Super Bowl against the Broncos, he staring at the football and going, "Oh, I'm not going to pick up the ball because I don't have the guts, the integrity, the testicular fortitude to be the quarterback in the Super Bowl, to want it all, win it all that good stuff." Randy, you're wrong. The Panthers will never, ever make the Super Bowl ever again, or as Jericho would say, again, as long as the shitty front office continues to wreak havoc and the Panthers continue to wreak havoc. Digress.
Well, I will say one thing real quick in regards to Randy's comment in the chat. At this point, I would trust the Carolina Panthers to make it back to the Super Bowl before the Dallas Cowboys ever will. Hey-o! Hey-o!
Yeah,
Or
no
should I-
comment on that.
You know what's funny?
Or should I say, in the words of Mr. Razor Ramon, hey-o.
You know what's funny? How I was listening to Mad Dog Sports Radio today, and they were talking, and there was a show. Michelle Beadle and Cody Decker were doing their show today, and Cody said on the show that Lamar Jackson is a more he's a nicer Dak Prescott. I'm like, oh my God, he didn't just say that, did he? He did.
Wait a minute. He said what again?
He said that Lamar Jackson is a more shiny Dak Prescott.
What?
He literally said that because Lamar's
no, sir. No, sir. No. No.
I'm like, really? You're comparing him to Dak
No.
Prescott? As
Well,
far as his
if you're
failures,
talking about
the failures.
if
I'm
you're
like,
talking
yeah,
about the Lamar Jackson, if you talk about the two quarterbacks from a playoff perspective, yeah, they suck.
that's I think that's what he was talking about. How Lamar is a more talented quarterback, but he has the playoff failures that Dak Prescott has. So that's what he was saying. So I was like, wow, he really just said that? Wow, it was crazy.
Oh, speaking of Dallas, have you guys been hearing what's been going on as of late?
No.
The fact that family members of Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons have all been blasting each other, saying that those three need to get the fuck out of Dallas. Yeah. ESPN First Take did a whole storyline on it. And I was just like,
Who are they going to get to be the quarterback? I got it. Russell Wilson.
Oh, dear God, no. His career would go to die.
That's the point. You want Chef Russ to cook up?
No. I had the best quarterback in mind
Who?
for Dallas.
Who?
Are you ready for this?
Who?
You ready for it?
Yeah.
Cam Newton.
What?
Jesus.
No.
No. Here's a more feasible option. Carson Wentz.
Oh, that is where careers go to die. I mean, talk about high-end talent that the Cowboys have. They can't even do nothing with high-end talent.
Yeah.
I mean, the future is more brighter in Detroit than it is Dallas because the fact that Ben Johnson is going back to being the offensive coordinator for Detroit, I think that's the right move because Dan Campbell believed in him enough to bring him back. And I mean, I like Dan Campbell. He's a likable guy. I like him, but you just got to learn. You got to learn from these mistakes that you made because these were critical mistakes that lost them the game.
Oh,
and
yeah, for sure.
There were Lions fans saying that, oh, we'll be back. We'll be back. You don't know that. It's hard to win in the NFL.
Yep.
Just ask Philadelphia how that team crumbled in the regular season and they faltered when it mattered most and all that stuff. And it just goes to show you that the coordinators and the coaches are the most important pieces and more than the players. Because you can have, decent players, but the coordinators are the ones that make you look good. And if you follow that, it can make you a great player.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Other news stories to get into real quick, before we move on, is the Panthers have plans to hire Bucs wide receivers coach Brad Idzik as their offensive coordinator.
But that's not even the biggest offensive coordinator hire. How about the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers are hiring former Atlanta Falcons head coach Arthur Smith as their offensive coordinator?
And shout outs to Tree on YouTube. He put out a video today. He was like, so, let me get this straight. You're going to get Arthur Smith as your offensive coordinator? Oh, it was tremendous. I mean, you thought Matt Canada was bad in Pittsburgh. Oh boy. The only way Arthur Smith is going to be feasible in Pittsburgh is if he somehow resurrects his coaching days with the Titans.
Yes, and like Tree said in his video, just kill me. Just go ahead and kill me right now.
And who would have thought? Who would have thought that maybe Arthur Smith next year could be responsible? Maybe from an offensive standpoint, no, not maybe, definitely would be responsible because at the end of the day, he's the one that's calling the plays. He could be responsible for Mike Tomlin's season streak of having non-losing seasons come to a crashing end next year. When he put out that video and I read the tagline, the title of the video, Arthur Smith is the new offensive coordinator for the Steelers. I literally, just like with the Taylor Swift themed Super Bowl flights, literally busted out laughing. It is hysterical how Pittsburgh is going to choose mediocrity over success.
What can you say? What can you do about it, huh?
Nothing. Nothing. And that's that. There's nothing we can do about it.
Nope. But most of these teams right now have actually gotten their head coaches for the year. But yet the question remains, there are still 2 more head coaching jobs available. Washington's and Seattle's.
And that's the most shocking thing to me because the fact that Bill Belichick was not even picked as Atlanta's head coach because he got the interview. I figured that's where he was going to go. And I get from a Falcon standpoint that they want to pick somebody who's kind of young, but the fact that you went against the great Belichick, like that guy went to you because that's the team that he was wanting to go to. And I think if he would have went to Atlanta as their coach, I think that maybe he wouldn't have had a great season with them, but he would have a better season than Arthur Smith did with Atlanta last year. And I get it from a certain standpoint, but I'm surprised that they did not pick him. And it will be interesting to see who Seattle gets and who Washington gets as their coaches.
I'm telling you right now, I said it during the pre-show, and I'll say it again. If even thinks about extending an offer to Dan Quinn to be our next head coach, I will start taking applications to become a fan for another team.
I'll be on the lookout for that. So if Dan Quinn is the new head coach for the Commanders, I'll be posting all over social media. Hey Joey, can you send in your application for the file for a new team of fandom, please? Thank you.
Because you better believe I will. You better believe I will. Because Dan Quinn would be the worst possible hire for a head coach.
You know, it'd be funny, Joey, if he was the coach, it'd be hilarious because they'll lose even more. But you know, it'd be funny if the Commanders lost the game 28-3.
Oh, don't tell me you went there.
I did. If Dan Quinn is the head coach of, hell, even Seattle, if he loses 28-3, I will laugh hysterically. The irony.
Yeah, here's the thing, Steven. I got two famous words for you. Screw you! Screw you!
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. But I reckon while we wait on Ezra to come back, I guess let's move on to some NBA talk.
Shall we?
And I think we know the perfect place where we can start off.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, what do you think about this headline? Or should I say this story title? The collapse and fall of the Milwaukee Bucks NBA franchise. Part 1.
The process 2.0. We all thought that Doc Rivers' days coaching in the NBA were done, especially after the epic collapse by the Philadelphia 76ers last year in the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Boston Celtics. You had Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and that team on the brink of elimination. James Harden, Embiid did not show up and play like superstars in those final couple of games. You gave the Celtics life in the rest of that third quarter into the fourth quarter against Philadelphia, and they took your hearts to send it to Game 7. And then in Game 7, they just kicked your ass on their home court. And then Doc Rivers was fired by Philadelphia in the offseason. For the first half of the season, he was with Mike Breen at ABC ESPN calling the games and going back to what he was doing with Al Michaels in 2003, 2004. Sure enough, Milwaukee, as we reported last week on the show, fired Adrian Griffin and after 43 games, which is, one, stupid as hell. What are you doing? Second of all, they said, oh, by the way, our leading candidate, hey, we fired Griffin. Get him out. Get him the fuck out. Let's get Doc Rivers. Let's get the guy who can't coach his way out of a paper bag in the playoffs when it matters most. I mean, it is amazing how Doc Rivers, even though he is a successful coach as far as getting his teams to the playoffs, and he did win that one championship with the Celtics in 2008, that great Boston Celtics team. And he did take them to a finals in 2010 against Kobe and the Lakers in that classic 7-game series. He's been to 2 finals as a coach. Went to 1 finals with the Knicks in 94. His track record since that finals loss against the Lakers in 2010 has not been a good one. With the Clippers, with Chris Paul, with Blake Griffin.
Sixers.
The Sixers. And oh, by the way, now he goes to Milwaukee to screw it up. You got talent. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard, who you signed before the regular season even started. You got Chris Middleton. You got Lopez. Hell, you got both Lopez brothers. Why not? Get both twins on the team. You got all of this talent on the front line and the bench and in the starting court and in the back court as far as rotating with the guards in and out. You got all this talent, and watch it. The Milwaukee Bucks, as we stand here on this show, January 30th, 2024, mark it down. The Milwaukee Bucks will not be playing in the NBA Finals. And I'm calling it right now. They are going to lose to the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. Why? Because Doc Rivers happened again. And I'm calling it as well again, and I'm making bold statements today. Because why? Because I can. Doc Rivers will be up 3-2 against the Celtics, and he will collapse again when it matters most.
Yeah. And then, in the words of the almighty great Chris Jericho, and they will never be the same again.
And what's even more funny, Joey, and I'm pretty sure you can agree with this, after his press conference last night, after losing his first game, he said, our offense is pretty good, but our defense has got to get better. Dude, you just played your first game.
Yeah, for real.
Just unbelievable. I mean, not saying he's not a bad coach. He is a good coach. But
Yeah.
he's like Mike McCarthy in the playoffs when it matters most. Because what has Mike McCarthy done with the Packers, with the Cowboys, after winning that one lonesome Super Bowl championship against the Steelers in 2010-11? Nothing. What has Doc Rivers done in the last 15 years? Or excuse me,
Nothing.
16 years. Nothing. Nothing. What is he going to do the rest of this season? Nothing.
Nothing.
What's he going to accomplish? Failure.
Nothing.
Failure. That's what he's going to accomplish. Congratulations, Doc Rivers. Your consolation prize is being another head coach of another team that will not win another championship.
Yeah. But there's a topic that I want to get your opinion on, Steven,
Sure.
that I feel is one that really needs to be discussed in regards to the NBA.
Sure.
We all know that obviously the Denver Nuggets are going to be a very powerful team in the Western Conference by virtue of their win last year in the NBA Championship.
Mm-hmm.
But what are your thoughts on as to how two very unexpected teams right now are finding themselves at the top of the Western Conference? Them being the Minnesota Timberwolves and, more shockingly and surprisingly, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
It's amazing. It's amazing how this league continues to change. Because really, since Kobe's retirement in 2016, we have seen a lot of parity in the NBA, which is great. I mean, you got, for the last couple of years, you had the Suns making a run, you had Denver making their run, and then they made it to the ultimate mountaintop last season, winning the NBA title. And now, and then obviously a couple years ago, you had the Memphis Grizzlies making their run and stuff. And now you got the Timberwolves and you got the Thunder. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought all that talent? Now, not saying Denver can't make another run, because they can, because they're proven battle-tested champions. But who would have thought all the talent that you have right there in the Western Conference, with Kyrie and Luka Doncic and Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, you name it. All of these teams that are out there in the West, Who would have thought that the Timberwolves and the Thunder would be right there at the top, neck and neck with each other in the Western Conference? It's crazy how this NBA season is going. And who also would have thought, too, that the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference side of things would continue to be where they are right now, because we thought that Chris Porzingis was going to be just a crappy, maneuver in the offseason. Turns out that hasn't been the case. He's had a really good season with the Celtics so far. And their defense, with Drew Holiday, the former Milwaukee Buck himself, he brings credibility to their defense as well. And he's still got Horford, and he's still got Tatum and everybody there that is still there for the past couple of teams. So it's really interesting how the landscape of the NBA has really changed. I mean, the Knicks are still playing competitive ball, and the Celtics are, and obviously the Nuggets are right there. And it's really remarkable how the parity in this league is so high. It's great. I think it's great because it brings more viewership to the NBA. Because when you had, Greg Popovich and Phil Jackson all those years winning with the Spurs and the Lakers respectively, and the Bulls in the 90s with Jackson, of course, with MJ and Pippen and the boys, the fans get tired. And I know we talked about it in the NFL, we're tired of seeing, the Patriots and Belichick and Brady winning, which they did all those years. But I respect greatness because it's hard to find success consistently in sports, because winning in sports, no matter what sport it is, whether it's baseball, whether if it's, the NBA, NFL, you name it, it's hard to be the top dog. I mean, the Yankees from the 90s to the mid-2000s, 2010s was one of the top baseball organizations from the end of the 20th century to the 21st century. Then all those great Yankee teams in the 20s, the 30s, the 50s, you name it, and all that. In the NFL, obviously the Cowboys, the Steelers, and the Niners, and, so on and so on. Patriots, Chiefs, you name it. In basketball, Spurs, Lakers, Celtics, you name it. And I think parity in sports, it's a phenomenal thing, because it's a proven fact that any team, as long as you have the coaches, the training staff, and everybody putting in place, and all 15 guys on any NBA team are coaching great, playing great, and getting things done and doing their job. Sorry, Randy, as Belichick always says, doing your job. If teams continue to do their job, more than likely they're going to have success. And it's remarkable to see a team like the Timberwolves, who made a run in the playoffs the last couple of years. Last year they were on the brink, and the other year they took that Nuggets team to a competitive series. Or actually, it was last year the Timberwolves took the Nuggets to a competitive series.
Yep.
And that was a competitive series, and it's going to be interesting to see, because last year the Timberwolves had nothing to lose, and they took that Denver team literally to the brink, and Denver survived. And who would have thought that a season later, then the Timberwolves are right there? Because if the Timberwolves played their cards right, and especially if the Thunder played their cards right, they could be making a run. Both of these two teams could be making a magic carpet ride to the NBA Conference Finals, NBA playoffs, or even better, the NBA Finals. Who the hell knows? All I know is I am on the ride of a lifetime, and I'm excited.
I can honestly agree with that 110%, because for a while, the Oklahoma City Thunder, ever since the mighty big three of Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant all decided to go their separate ways, with, of course, Westbrook being the last one to go, nobody thought that Oklahoma City was going to be successful. But then they decided to draft Chet Holmgren out of Gonzaga last year, who, of course, was not able to play last year because that was Frank foot injury. And, of course, they have SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, really stepping up. And Oklahoma City just has another 1, 2, possibly 3 players that are really stepping up this year. So, I mean, shout outs to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Excuse me, because they are making an awesome run right now, and they have been near the top of the league this whole entire season. And technically, games-wise, we are over halfway through the NBA regular season. So if Oklahoma can keep this play calling and what is gameplay going, then the Thunder could be a threat come playoff time.
It's remarkable. It is unbelievable. Like, just year after year, we always find those couple of teams, that on paper they don't look like world beaters and they don't look like a great consistent team. But in the end, they make their mark and they're playing great ball. And when you're playing consistent great ball, that's when the fans start packing into the arenas.
Yep.
I mean, who would have thought that the Thunder would be in the position they are now, years and years being removed from Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant after Harden left, and obviously after those three guys were on the same team for 3 years, and they went to the Western Conference Finals twice, the NBA Finals once in 2012, and they were on the brink of the NBA Finals with Durant and Westbrook 8 years ago in 2016, but had one of the most epic collapses against the Golden State Warriors. And who would have thought that fast forward 8 years later, the Oklahoma City Thunder are right there, neck and neck in the Western Conference, which is one of the toughest conferences still to this very day in the National Basketball Association.
Yeah.
And before we continue, folks, you can follow us on Twitter at ON_Sports Show, and you can also follow us on Facebook and YouTube on Facebook and YouTube.com/Our Nation Sports Show. And also don't forget to follow the Instagram page at ON Sports Show. And yeah, there's a lot going on, with, in the NBA and the NFL with the Super Bowl happening next week. And it's really fascinating, because once the NFL stops, the UFL will be starting up very soon. So when football in the NFL ends, football in the spring will begin with the UFL. And that should be very exciting, and hopefully it does well. But as far as right now, Joey, when it comes to the NBA, as far as where we stand right now on the Eastern Conference side and the Western Conference side, who do you have making the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals?
It's tough to say. It really is tough to say. If I had to pick the Western Conference, I would honestly like to see Oklahoma City make it to the Western Conference Finals, and it's going to be hard to go against the Denver Nuggets. So, as of this point, my pick for the Western Conference Finals would be Denver against Oklahoma City.
Okay.
And as far as the Eastern Conference, just like it's hard to pick against Denver in the Western Conference, it's hard to pick against Boston in the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now. So my pick for the Eastern Conference is the Boston Celtics. And this team that I think they might be going up against might be a surprise to some people, but it's not going to be a surprise to you, me, Ezra, or possibly even Kevin. And the team that the team that I think could challenge Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers. With the way that they have Tyrese Halliburton, even though he's on the shelf right now, whenever he comes back, he's going to pick up right where he left off. And plus the fact that the Pacers were able to get Pascal Siakam from Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this Indiana Pacers team is looking pretty good right about now, and it will not surprise me if they go on to the Eastern Conference Finals this year, at least.
And Siakam, to add to that too, he was that secret weapon for the Raptors NBA championship in 2019 against the Warriors. I mean, he was when you got Kawhi Leonard and you got Kyle Lowry and everybody on there, and Marc Gasol, you had Pascal Siakam, who was like that secret weapon to their success. Siakam in that finals was amazing, amazing. And he's providing a spark right now for this Pacers team. And it's amazing how that one move can position you to greatness. And I'm not saying that Siakam is a superstar. He's a great role player. Like, I would say he's kind of like that Jason Terry. You know, because Terry with the Mavericks all those years, he was so good.
Mm-hmm.
He could come in and he could fill in for Jason Kidd or, Sean Marion or Caron Butler, or even J.J. Barea. I mean, just Jason Terry was that secret weapon to the Mavericks' success all those years. And Pascal Siakam is that same way now that he's on the Pacers. Because the Miami Heat, I'm sorry, they're not going to be the Cinderella darlings that they were last year.
Oh, no.
They're not playing like it.
No, they're not.
And hell, their roster's not even the same. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And seeing as how Miami had to say goodbye to some of that, well, most of that team here in this offseason, yeah. Miami's definitely not playing like it.
And you know what? And to add to that too as well, I bet you Damian Lillard was fortunate that he didn't go to Miami. Because even though it looked like the sexy place to go as far as the weather, the environment, they just came to the NBA Finals. They gave the Nuggets a competitive 5-game series. They had all these great role players. Nah. He's in the right place in Milwaukee. As far as record-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Bucks is right there at the top with the Celtics.
But of course, seeing as how they got Doc Rivers as their head coach, they're going to falter come playoff time.
Yep. Just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time.
And if we're proven wrong, hey, we'll come on here and we'll congratulate them. We'll give them their flowers.
Oh, yeah.
But track record-wise, I don't think so.
All right, let's see if there's anything else newsworthy that we can talk about. Let me see. Real quick, let's talk a little bit about the one thing that Steven posted in the chat just before showtime. And that is the fact that not one, not two, not three, but 4 NHL hockey players, most notably Carter Hart, Dylan Dubé, Michael McLeod, and Cal Foote, are being charged with sexual assault from a 2018 World Junior Championships run by the Canadian national team.
That is disgusting. Disgusting on so many levels. And you know what? I'm calling it right now, Joey. Their success in 2018 is going to be stripped away.
Yep.
Unreal. Unreal. How this even happened.
It's amazing.
It really is. It really is.
Oh, boy.
What's up?
I forgot about this.
What's up?
Oh, there is a big game happening in the NBA tomorrow night. The one and only Damian Lillard is going to be returning to Portland.
Oh, baby!
When his Milwaukee Bucks take on the Portland Trail Blazers tomorrow night at 10:30 on ESPN.
Oh, that is gonna be a sight to see and hear.
Oh
Oh,
yes.
baby. Wow.
Oh
I
yeah.
will definitely be tuning into that game. That's gonna be insane.
Oh yes. Absolutely. And let's also talk a little bit about the big news that came out earlier this afternoon, and that is the fact we are going to see a one of a kind matchup here at All Star Weekend in Indianapolis here in just a few weeks. For the first time ever, we will be seeing an NBA star going up against a WNBA star in a 3-point contest.
Yeah.
We're going to see Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors go up against New York Liberty shooting guard, or I think she's a point guard, but anyway, Sabrina Ionescu.
That's crazy. Welcome back, Ezra.
Hey,
Yes.
welcome back, Ezra. Where you been, sir?
Hey man, it's been a rough go. Rough go this past couple weeks, man. This from just crazy temperatures to illness to just insanity. But it's gonna be interesting to see how it all plays out. Can't wait to go deep into really give my predictions next week. It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait for that. Um,
We've just been talking about the NBA and all the stuff that's been going on, with the Timberwolves and the Thunder being up there at the top of the conference of the West, and Milwaukee's first loss last night with Doc Rivers as head coach, and one of the biggest games happening in the NBA season happening tomorrow with the Bucks and the Trailblazers, with Lillard returning to Portland.
yeah.
Yeah, saying real quick, I know we don't really talk about college basketball an awful lot, at least until March Madness, but we might have ourselves a pretty big upset here in the books. 31 seconds to go in the second half. The South Carolina Gamecocks are beating the number 5 ranked Tennessee Volunteers on the road, 59-56.
Oh boy.
Oh my.
Very interesting. And North
Uh,
Carolina is barely squeaking by Georgia Tech right now, 47-44, with 15:47 to go in the second half. Oh, but if you're a college basketball fan that especially lives in the Carolinas, you guys are going to be in for a treat this upcoming weekend because it is part one of the famous rivalry between North Carolina and Duke. Saturday night, 6:30, ESPN. Check your local listings.
yep.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Other football news to get to real quick. I mean, outside of just a few coaching notices, a few quick things. Of course, it was announced that the Chargers are working to hire Ravens director of player personnel Joel Ortiz as the general manager.
Oh,
Interesting.
here's something else interesting. Let me see. Houston Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick is going to be staying with the Texans, despite his name being pitched around for head coaching jobs.
Oh, very nice.
Yep, that literally just
Ooh.
broke about 40 minutes ago.
That's kind of been the common theme the last couple of days with these coordinators. They're staying put, and I think that's good because the success that Houston had and the success that Detroit had, I think these guys are making the right moves to stay with their respective teams.
Yeah. Let's see. Really nothing too really from what I can tell, nothing really too big, but in the world of sports, I mean just some quick like I said, a couple small coaching changes, interviews, as you know, the season is shutting down, so we're gonna get ready to head into the off season, and then the draft, of course, will come up later this year. But we got one more full round of football for you coming up. Versus 2 rounds actually next week, and then of course Super Bowl Sunday, which we'll have the recap on that coming up in a few weeks.
And we also gave our thoughts on what we think the Chiefs did or what the Chiefs need to do in next week. We'll give our thoughts on what we think the Niners need to do to win the Super Bowl.
Yep. Let's see here. Moving on to some quick NBA news, and of course we're getting deeper and deeper as we prepare for the All-Star game in Indianapolis coming up here. It's very, very soon. Ben Simmons made his return, or makes his return after 3 months out.
Whee!
to a
Not,
Whoopee! Yippee!
not.
Let's see here.
I would laugh if he pulled a LeBron and just left early in the game.
Yeah.
Or better yet, you could pull an Anthony Davis by breaking your leg just by standing up on the court.
Yes.
Yeah, so going on right now with the NBA, real quick, is right now the Jazz are losing to the Knicks 53-44. Pacers are losing to the Celtics 79-59.
Ooh.
Yeah. The Hawks are beating the Lakers 64-54. Chicago's beating Toronto. Looks like 31-25.
But yes, how about the Rockets beating the Lakers last night? That was great.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And then at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific is going to be the Sixers and the Warriors on TNT.
In which Joel Embiid is hereby questionable for that game. So it'll be interesting to see if he'll be able to play tonight.
Yeah. Let's see. Yep, this is questionable due to his left knee issues. Well, here we go. Taj Gibson has signed a 10-day contract with the New York Knicks.
Ah, interesting.
Once again, another shot under Coach Tibbs. Let's see. The Grizzlies are signing center Trey Jameson onto a 10-year or 10-day contract as well. Let's see. We're here. Tyrese Halliburton is scheduled to return. Is possibly scheduled to return as early as tonight. So, and despite a dislocated shoulder, Julius Randle is only scheduled to miss only a few weeks, not a few months. So he got by with that one.
Good. At least he's not out for a long term.
Yeah. Let's see. And Adam Silver has finalized a contract extension for himself. That is going to take him through the remainder of the decade.
Interesting.
You know, Adam Schefter does look like an alien from outer space.
Yeah, that's because there ain't no football news happening right now.
Yeah. But yeah,
but soon he'll have some baseball to be talking about since he likes to talk about baseball sometimes.
Yeah. Let's see here. I believe Doc Rivers made his coaching debut last night, correct?
Yes, he did, and they lost.
And he lost?
He lost.
Aye, of course. Of course he did.
Yep, and after the game, he said, the offense was great, but the defense really needs to step up. Dude, you played one game. One game.
How the hell can you sit there and say that we need to get better after one game? If it was 10, 15 games, okay, fine. One game. Come on.
or if it was an NBA series game 6, I can understand.
Yeah,
If you talk about just one game.
yeah. Little too early there, Doc.
Eh,
Let's see.
what's not that?
Joey, do you have any baseball news to wrap up?
Not really.
Well, Justin Turner did sign a 1-year deal with the Toronto Blue Jays. I just found that out.
Oh wow, I didn't even see that.
Yep. So, yeah, it seems like it's pretty quiet. I don't have anything else to really throw forward to any of you guys got anything?
I think I'm good.
Let me see.
Yeah, I think I'm good right now.
Yeah, I really don't.
Oh yeah, there was that trade that went down. I think it was a couple days ago. Last night actually, the Seattle Mariners and Minnesota Twins swung a huge deal with Minnesota Twins second baseman Jorge Polanco going to the Mariners for a package including outfield prospect Gabriel Gonzalez, reliever Justin Topa, starter Anthony Desclafani, and minor league pitcher Darren Bowen.
Damn, huge package for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside of that, I really don't have anything else on my end. So,
Nah, I think I'm good after that.
yep. Let's go ahead and do our final thoughts. Joey, you're up first.
Holy shit! Real quick. The Pacers just hit a 3-point shot at the buzzer. That's crazy. 10 feet behind the line.
Nice.
81-67 at the half.
Nice. But
outside of that, I think I'm good.
But yes, another great show with you guys. As we mentioned, next week we're going to be talking about what the San Francisco 49ers are going to need to do to win the Super Bowl. Plus, we'll be giving our predictions as to who we think is going to win the Super Bowl. So tune in. As Steven mentioned earlier, follow us on social media, on all of our hashtags and everything like that. So just enjoy the sports, enjoy the college basketball. That's going to be on TV this weekend. And peace out.
Yeah, we got a lot of that coming up too. We will be covering when it happens, March Madness. So definitely keep an eye on our social media for that. Steven, you know how to close it out, brother.
Yes, I do. Great show with you guys. Again, we will be back next week giving our analysis on what we think the Niners need to do to win the Super Bowl. And we will be all giving our predictions on who we think wins the big game in the NFL, the Super Bowl. And that's going down next week at Allegiant Stadium on the 11th. And that'll be exciting. And tune into the NBA this week. All the great games that's happening, especially with Lillard's return tomorrow to Portland against the Trailblazers, and obviously Saturday with Duke and UNC, their first of 2 games in the regular season. That'll be exciting, and we're excited, with the NFL, happening with the Super Bowl next week, and also very excited that the UFL that will be starting up in the springtime. That's awesome that it's happening with the XFL and what was it? The other league.
It was the XFL and the arena. Wasn't it the USFL?
The
USFL. That's it.
USFL.
Yep. That's it. USFL and the XFL. So it's really cool, that 2 football, organizations are coming together to merge as one. It's basically what happened, 50 some odd years ago when the NFL and the AFL merged together to be just the NFL. So, it's really cool how that's all came about, and football is here to stay from the fall to the winter to spring to the summer. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Owen_Sports Show. And don't forget to follow us right now at Facebook, facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show. And also where we are live on youtube.com/Our Nation Sports Show. And also Instagram at ON Sports Show. And don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner. Everywhere else on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, it is at the Nation's Corner. And don't forget to check out the guys and gals this Saturday as they recap all the ins and the outs of WWE, AEW, TNA, and especially the Royal Rumble from this past weekend at Tropicana Field in Tampa, Florida, highlighted by Cody Rhodes winning the Men's Rumble and Bayley winning the Women's Royal Rumble, and all the craziness that's happening in everywhere you go in the world of professional wrestling. So don't forget to check out the show this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern at its normal start time, because last week it started at 6 Eastern. So this week it's back to its regular scheduled time at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And with that being said, Ezra, as you know how to do, unlike the Cowboys, know how to wrap this show up as you know how to do well, my friend.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. You guys, of course, are awesome. Thank you to everybody watching the show live or on demand. We appreciate your support. Don't forget to hit us up on our social medias, including our individual ones, which will be displayed at the bottom of this video. And just enjoy the week of sports, man. We got, like I said, all the Pro Bowl activities going on this weekend. We got all sorts of college stuff going on as well. In college basketball, getting prepared for March Madness, so check that out. Of course, Royal, of course, like I said, all different sorts of stuff in the wrestling world, which will be covered on Nation's Corner. But don't forget to follow us on our social medias and hang with us as we get ready for Super Bowl Sunday in about a week and a half. So check it out. So for Kevin Rory, for Stevie Wyand, for Randy Guyer, and for Joey Thornton, I am Ezra Vickery, and we will see you right here with another great edition of our Nation Sports Show. Take care, everybody. Have a great week, and we will see you next time. Peace out.
Turn me up. Turn me up.